Hey guys, it's John from Chicagoland Fire Photos, and in today's video we're going to be getting into the Masterstreams carried by Chicago Fire Department engine companies and the basics of the Blitz Attack. Now let's get into the video. Alright, so getting into the first Masterstream, we have the Deckgun. Now Deckguns are carried by all Chicago Fire Department engine companies and are used at large defensive fires and also for a tactic called the Blitz Attack, which we'll get into later. Now this one is made by Akron Brass, and it has a stack tip design, 1 3/8, 1.5 inch, 1.25 inch, all the way down to 2 inch. A lot of them have flow gauge up here and a shutoff, which is kind of where my hand is, to be able to turn on and off the Deckgun without needing the engineer if you need to reposition it or something like that. The next one we're going to get into is something fairly new, and that's called the Blitz or Ram. Alright, so here we have the Elkhart Brass Ram XD. Other companies make this, known as the Blitz Fire, but this is the one the city has. Now this is a mobile Masterstream system, and it is a 150 psi at 500 GPM nozzle. In this case, CFD equips it with a similar to the Deckgun stack tip design with 1 inch, 1.25 inch, and 1.5 inch. Also, the last thread is a female to male extension, and what that does is it allows for this to, let's say if they decide to go in and they need to run a line off this, they can just throw a line on the front, a 2.5, and just keep rocking with that. It has some webbing, which allows it to be tied off to things, and it can be fed with either a 2.5 inch line through this port right here, or through a 4 inch supply line through this Storts to 2.5 decreaser, which screws on the back. Again, it's an Elkhart Brass product, and most companies carry them in these Klein bags. These will typically be set up across the street from buildings at large fires. I'll throw a picture in right here, one being used. And the nice thing about this is it allows a 2.5 to be used stationary by one firefighter, which is pretty useful. The next Masterstream device we're going to be getting into is this guy's big brother, which is the Multiversal. Now the Multiversal, in its most basic explanation, is essentially just a Deckgun that can be put almost anywhere. It's a big brother to the Ram XD or Blitz Fire that we just talked about. It also has some cordage to tie it off. It incorporates a stack tip with tips at 2 3/4 inch, 1.5 inch, and 1 3/8 inch, all the way at the top. This is fed through this is one of the newer ones. It's fed through one 4 inch LDH connection through a Storts fitting. Some of the older models or different models you'll see around in the city have 2 LDH fittings. This one here is made by Task Force Tips, and its name is the Crossfire. And yeah, so these are typically not used anymore. They're used very sparingly. These are carried on engines, but a lot of times if they're using a mobile Masterstream, they'll use the Ram XD because it's a little bit more maneuverable. This is kind of heavy, hard to move around, and kind of the risk reward with putting somebody on these if they have to get out of somewhere real fast is they can kind of pick that one up and move with it. But that's also a tactic that'll be employed with these. If you see some videos of some bigger fires in the past, I haven't seen this done in a minute, is that these can be just left. These, if they're tied off right and set up, you can set these in a collapse zone and leave them just pumping, and you don't have to worry about endangering a firefighter in the collapse zone. You just have this multiversal working. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for the multiversal. And now we're going to get into a well, Chicago born and bred tactic known as the Blitz Attack. Okay, so getting into the explanation of how the Blitz Attack works. To start this off, I suck at drawing, like suck at drawing. So this is kind of the best we're going to get. So, let's say we have our fire building here. A 2.5-story balloon frame construction with heavy fire on the second floor. Now, typically in Chicago, the engine company, when they arrive on scene, will pull past the fire building and stop either 1 to 2 buildings past it, so that the truck can take the front, put the main up, and go to work. But in this case, the engine, when they arrive on scene, is going to come in and stop right in front of the fire building. And what they're then going to do is one of the 3 firefighters in the back is going to jump up on top of the engine and get the deck gun ready to go to work. The engineer is going to go to the pump panel and turn the deck gun on. Now, when they do this, they're going to knock out as much fire as they can with their 500 gallons of tank water in this floor. So they're going to just completely blast that floor and knock down as much fire as they can. Now, while that's happening, normally the pipeman and the officer will be assessing the building and starting their lead out. And the truck will be going to work, except for the guys on the roof who will be waiting to pull forward if they're on scene. Then, once that tank water is depleted, they're going to pull past the fire building to their final spot where they're going to park, 1 to 2 buildings past. And by that time, the engine officer and pipeman will have started their lead out and will be making their way to the front door to go to work. And the backup guy who was on the deck gun will be down assisting them. Then, of course, the hydrant guy will go make the hydrant in normal fire operation. I hope you all enjoyed that video. Sorry, kind of the recording at the end got cut off, had an SD card problem. But essentially all I was going to say is that the Blitz Attack is a great way to put out a lot of fire really, really fast and then go to work. Other than that, I really hope you enjoyed the video. I really hope you have a nice rest of your day. And stay tuned, because next week we're getting into high-rise ops. Boom!